I'm here with Aidan. We're up in Hendon at the moment, but we're going to be doing a mock test out of Mill Hill.
Yeah, how are you?
Aidan has contacted me through Instagram, and you have a driving test coming up.
Week and a half.
Do you want to be telling everybody when your test is?
Yeah, 28th of February.
And I'm pleased to say, because it's been a few weeks since we shot this video, that Aidan passed his real test. Even though this mock didn't quite go to plan.
Brave man. I like it. I like it. 28th of Feb. You're clearly not 17 years old though, are you?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm 10 years older. 27.
27. How come you left it so late? Or did you have a license from another country? Or did you have to convert it? Or are you...
Yeah, no license at all. Obviously from Ireland.
Right.
So you haven't catched that.
I did.
I'm from a small town, so everything was pretty much walking distance. This was my realization. I went to Greece with my girlfriend.
Surprise! Awesome!
We nearly left the holiday early because we struggled getting a car.
Does your girlfriend not drive either?
She drives, but only automatics.
Wait, so when was this?
That was nearly a year ago, so last April.
She couldn't get an auto?
We managed to get one. The first few days was, a nightmare. We were like walking half an hour to go to the shop. Nothing
wrong with doing auto. If you want to do an automatic car or license, there's no problem with that whatsoever. But you should have the thought that if you're on holiday and you can't get an auto for whatever reason, or if you have to wait a few days, it's just an inconvenience. If you've got manual, you do both. Tell us a little bit about your driving. So how many hours of driving have you done?
Exactly 30 hours.
And how ready do you feel for this test?
Honestly, I'm more than capable of passing, but I'm more than capable of failing too. So I'm more confident the last few weeks. The mini roundabouts, I think they're fine now, but obviously the big kind of like 3-lane roundabouts, they're like...
Well, I won't worry about the route that I picked you for today then. And we're also going to go for a little drive just to give you a warm-up. I'm not going to throw you straight in. I think that's a bit unfair. Just like always, like, comment and subscribe because it really does boost the channel. If you like it, hit that like button and it just sort of pushes the video out and more people will see it. And it boosts the channel, so I really appreciate that. If you would like to do a mock test on the channel, then I will put a link down here to my Instagram. Send me a DM and then we can talk about it. Actually, have you done a mock test before? Was this your first?
No, first one.
You did say that, didn't you?
Yeah.
I was listening.
That's right.
I was listening.
A few moments later.
All times, I like to follow the road ahead unless I told to turn left or turn right, or unless road signs indicate otherwise. If I need you to turn, I'll tell you in good time. We're going to take in one reversing manoeuvre, possibly an emergency stop, and we're going to be following sat-nav on this particular test for about 15 to 20 minutes. Tell me how you would put your fog lights on, and when would you use them?
Okay, I would turn my fog lights on if it's like misty and foggy and you couldn't see, 100 meters ahead.
Drive on when you are ready.
Aidan had a really good warm-up drive, and he has intimated that his biggest issues are roundabouts. This particular route has 2 major roundabouts on it, and true to his word, he does struggle on them. But overall, his drive is actually pretty good. He does make a few mistakes.
And then we're going to take the first road on the right, which is just before that post box, I guess.
Cool.
But he's definitely not far away, as his real test proved, from being ready. He settles in nicely, taking the first few junctions very, very calmly, not feeling pressured to make rash decisions. But he does have a habit of looking at his gears, which actually creates a few issues for him later on.
End of the road here, turn right.
And on the next junction, he again does good observation and does well.
Okay, so the road is going to split.
Go.
Follow the road ahead, please.
He also does really well at this stop sign. He's not tempted to keep moving and doesn't look until he's come to a complete stop. Again, he's looking at his gears. Not a problem, as he'd pretty much come to a stop, but it's not a good habit. And then shortly we pull up on the left to start the sat-nav.
So we're going to start the sat-nav.
Cool. First time using the sat-nav as well.
Really? You haven't used it yet?
No.
Okay, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Drive on when you're ready.
Cool.
As Aidan goes to move off here, he just forgets to put it in gear.
What's the handbrake on?
He thinks it's a problem, but because we haven't actually moved anywhere, it's not really an issue. But he just can't quite figure it out.
What's the engine on? Start?
Are you in gear, bud?
Oh my god.
Switch your engine off for a second.
Unfortunately for Aidan, on this particular day, I had a bit of a cough, but he really wanted to do this mock test, so it went ahead anyway. But unfortunately, it was a bit embarrassing.
I'm doing this for you.
Yeah, no, mate, I appreciate it.
And now you're regretting it.
No, not at all.
After a short break, though, we're back on the road.
That was a silly mistake.
Is it a mistake?
I'd say a gear fault.
Again, I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to use it because I'm coughing like an idiot. Okay, we'll see.
We could say that then.
Is it a gear fault?
Not sure. It was kind
Did you interfere with anybody?
No.
I'm not even going to mark it.
We could say that then, I don't mind. So,
If you'd have released your handbrake and the car's now rolling forwards
Yeah.
and you've got no control, are we now creating a problem?
yeah, because you're not in control.
But you've just forgotten to stick it in gear because you pulled over, had to listen to me coughing. It's probably really distracted you. Okay, so all of that's going on. Take a breath, relax, it doesn't matter. Whenever you're ready, drive on.
Now that we've got that all out of the way, we can really get on with things. He signals before he looks properly around the car, but in this case I'm going to put that down as not noteworthy. And again, probably because I'm not 100%, I forget that we're on sat-nav.
Okay, so at the roundabout...
After
no,
200
my bad.
yards,
Follow
go
that.
right on the roundabout and take the second exit, A5109, Salvage Lane.
The bike is sticking out, so...
Aidan ultimately does okay on this mini roundabout. He's
Go
patient,
right on the roundabout and take the second exit.
which is good, but he does miss an opportunity to go. He has a slight stutter on the controls and rolls back a little bit. In this case, I'm going to put this as not noteworthy, but it does cause him to miss an opportunity. He then misses his second chance to go. Chances are it's because of that stutter that he's a little bit lacking in confidence. But he doesn't miss this one. Here, he does very well. He clearly understands mini roundabouts, which is great, but unfortunately, because of the two missed opportunities, this is a driver fault for undue hesitation. Although chances are it was because of the control. He's now approaching a large complex roundabout, the apex corner, and he struggles on this one.
After 200 yards, cross the roundabout and take the second exit, A1, Barnett Way.
He somehow manages to move from lane 1, which is the left-hand lane, to lane 3, which is the far right-hand lane, as he crosses the roundabout. He also enters the junction with
Cross
a
the
left signal.
roundabout and take the second exit.
He starts off well, picking the correct lane, and if you look at the road markings, you can clearly see that you can follow the road ahead. But then he finds himself in the middle, and I can understand why he's done this, because there was a blockage in the left-hand lane. But it's at this point here that he drifts across into the right-hand position, interfering with vehicles behind. Unfortunately, my back camera's not working, but that is a serious fault.
That's all right. Okay, so you're just going to be following the road ahead now. Okay, straight up the dual carriageway.
This has clearly thrown him, but he's now in the right-hand lane, and he's barely moving, with traffic building up behind. I eventually have to help him to move back to the left. If you find yourself caught in this position, the best thing you can do is get your left signal on as soon as possible. Nobody knows you want to move back to the left if you don't tell them. The other option is also to get moving, but unfortunately Aidan does neither.
So I tell you what you're going to do is if you put your indicator on just to tell people you're moving back to the middle. That's it. That's it. And then what lane do we normally drive in?
The left, but that car's approaching me.
But if you wanted to tell them what you wanted to do, what could you do with that signal?
So left signal.
With a bit of help, we get back to the left. But all of this could have been avoided. Keeping track of your lanes on a large complex roundabout can sometimes be quite tricky, but there is a trick to it. But let's address this moving from the left lane to the middle lane on this particular roundabout to see if that's okay. Provided you don't interfere with anybody, because this roundabout moves from a 3-lane into a 4, there is the potential for some lateral movement. You can't move across 4 lanes, but the left lane could move to the second from the left, provided it's done safely. The exit of this roundabout is made more difficult by the fact that the road markings disappear, so the key is to pay attention to these vehicles on the left-hand side, or even the vehicle in front in this instance. If there's 1 lane to the left as I move through this roundabout, on the exit there should also be just 1 lane to the left. After you've made a mistake like that on a roundabout, it can be very difficult to concentrate, and coming up is another one.
All good.
Oh, sweet.
Okay, you're still in gear 3 as well. So if we just come out of gear 3...
Into gear 2?
No, gear 4 at least, I think.
Being in gear 3 when you're above 40 miles an hour is simply just a waste of fuel.
Now this is going to tell you quite late where you're going. But can you see where you're going to be going?
Yeah.
The sat-nav is coming up quite quickly.
After 800 yards, go right on the roundabout and take the 4th exit, A411, Barnet Road.
Because of what I've just seen on the apex, I'm more inclined to
so
help.
you're going to be turning right here. So what lane do we need to get back to?
The right.
Aidan changes both lanes at the same time. This is not recommended. In this instance, he doesn't interfere with anybody, but changing 2 lanes at a time increases the risk. Aidan again picks the wrong lane on the roundabout, so I help him out as it's too risky to allow him to cut across.
Go right on the roundabout and take the 4th exit, A411, Barnet Road.
Okay, do you know where you're going here?
Yeah, so right.
What exit are you taking?
3rd exit.
4th.
Oh, 4th.
Okay, so you count that one as a second.
And he makes the mistake here. This section now becomes a bit of a lesson instead of a mock test, but sometimes that's important.
Take the exit, A411, Barnet Road.
Okay, no, you're going to go around again. Go around again. So we made a mistake on this one. Okay, so it's fine.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm going to help you with these roundabouts. The rest of it is going to be back to you.
Cool.
Okay? And again, treat this as a learning experience, Aidan.
Yeah.
Because that's what this is. Okay? So we've come from there. What we're going to do is we're going to stay to the right as we come around. So imagine that's where we're coming from. So we're going to be counting 4 from there.
Okay.
That's it. And so we're going to move into that right lane now. And that's where we came from.
Okay.
So we're going to drive round. That'll do. And therefore we would have been in that right-hand lane. Okay? And I'm going to get you to read the road markings and you'll see it'll make sense. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so as you come round here, you're going to see, I want you to read the road marking. And it's more of an arrow. Read the arrow.
Okay.
And then come to gear 2 when you can, when it's safe. You see it says ahead and right?
Yeah.
So you stay in this lane.
Okay.
That's the 2nd exit. That's the 3rd exit. So we follow the road round to the right. We're now in the left position. So which mirrors and signal to exit?
Yeah, left.
Take the exit, A411,
And we want to go around the left here.
Barnet
Don't
Road.
go behind him. Stay left. Stay left. Because we want to go left here. That's it.
Cool.
And that takes us
Straight on.
where we want to go.
Cool.
Okay?
It's important that you pick the correct lane when entering a large complex roundabout, but there are a couple of other things that you definitely need to pay attention to, and that's, of course, the road markings and counting your exits. Aidan is turning right 4th exit, and the first exit is here, the second exit is into Morrison's, and the third is dead ahead, which means you're about to be turning left once you've gone past that third exit. If you combine that knowledge with reading this road marking here, you would see that you would be able to turn right from this lane. And as you need the left lane to exit left, out of these 2 lanes here that are both turning right, this one is the left lane. Always count exits and read the road markings.
That's it. And then we're out of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what does it highlight that you need to work on?
Oh, roundabouts, I think.
Which is what you said right at the beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
It's just the 3 lanes.
That's
There's
it.
not enough experience, but
That's
yeah,
okay. Don't
it's
worry
good.
about it. It's all part of it. This is what this is for. Okay.
Turn right.
Aidan is now about to be driving on roads that he's not 100% comfortable with. They're kind of like country lanes, and he just gets his speed a little bit wrong in places. Too fast when he shouldn't be, and a little bit slow when he should be picking it up. He takes this width restriction a little bit quickly, but he gets through, so it's not an issue.
Have you driven on roads like this?
No, it doesn't even feel like we're in London. So, definitely first time taking this route.
Now earlier I said Aidan has an issue of looking down at his gears, and he does that here and clips the curb. In this instance it's not a major issue, so this is just a driver fault for steering.
Just be careful of these curbs because you're getting very close. That's it.
However, a driver fault should never be ignored. If this had happened a few moments earlier, this would have been dangerous. Practice changing gears without looking at them. All along this road, he's just driving a little bit too slowly. I understand being cautious, but we've got to be careful that it's not bordering on not driving fast enough. It's just been noted, nothing else. Not driving fast enough continues again going down this hill. He does actually get overtaken by 3 vehicles, but I'm going to take into consideration that he's going downhill. Quite often being overtaken leads to a serious fault if you're not driving fast enough, but because of the conditions, I'm just going to put this as a driver fault, but be careful, this could escalate to a serious.
Now, when it's safe to do so, and I'm going to emphasise that, put the front demister on for me, please.
Aidan fumbles a bit, but he finds the control and remains in control, more importantly, of the car.
That's brilliant.
And then just around the bend, we come across an accident. Now, we weren't here and we didn't see it. Considering it's on a bend and it's a blind corner,
This just goes to show you what can happen. This is quite a dangerous road.
and the positioning of the vehicles, I can pretty much guarantee
Just following
speed
behind
was
it,
involved.
just thinking cars coming- Goodness me.
I'm hoping everybody got out of that safely. The theme of driving a little bit too slowly continues down this hill. Even when he enters the 30 zone, he doesn't pick up his speed, and he is interfering with a vehicle behind. Again, I understand he's going downhill, but it carries on a bit too long.
Heading home.
But again, I'm just going to put this as a driver fault. That's my judgment, but be careful. Again, this could escalate to a serious. At no point are you expected to drive recklessly and fast, but sometimes the difference between a driver fault and driving appropriately could be 3 to 4 miles an hour. That's all it takes. Think about what's going on behind you as well as what's going on in front of you. We're coming to the end of the test, and he's approaching a tight bend to the left, which is underneath a bridge. This tends to catch a few people out, and he clips the curb. 9 times out of 10, it's speed that's the problem, but on your driving test, it would be marked as a steering fault. When the road gets tight, drop your speed.
And then at the roundabout, which is just around the bend, turn right, please.
Every situation is different, and this particular hit of the curb is not noteworthy. Aidan's a little bit hesitant on this roundabout, and he had an opportunity to go, but because he's just clipped the curb, that's probably on his mind. In this case, again, I'm going to put this as not noteworthy.
And then again, if you take the next road on the left here, please. And then after you've made the turn, I'd like you to find somewhere to pull up on the right in a safe place.
Good.
And this instance, in fact, don't worry too much about driveways.
Oh, okay, good.
For some reason on this mock test, I didn't make it difficult for him to look for somewhere safe to pull up. Don't expect that on your driving test. I think it's because we've come to the end and I just want to get it done. In your test, look for a safe spot to pull up. Aidan is a little bit slow and he's a bit late in putting his signal on and gets overtaken by this BMW. Now personally, I think the white car was a little bit reckless, but Aidan definitely could have responded to what was happening in his mirrors, so this is a driver fault for mirrors for slowdown. Then an oncoming car flashes him to give him a signal to go. He takes it. Doesn't leave him a lot of room though. However, but because he was given the signal, I'm going to say that's just fine.
Okay, cool. And then reverse the car back up about 2 car lengths, keeping reasonably close to the curb, please.
Overall, you'd think his observation is good, but he checks his right blind spot when he's already moving. And he didn't stop for those oncoming vehicles. Reversing a vehicle on a driving test is part demonstration, part reality. Aidan hasn't demonstrated good awareness of his surroundings, and for this reason, it's a serious fault for observation on the reverse exercise.
Okay, that'll do.
All good.
Okay, so all I'd like you to do is like drive on from here and then just pull up on the left in a safe place. Okay, maybe just before that black car will do.
Yeah, okay.
Okay?
Fine.
Whenever you're ready.
He again forgets to put it in gear, but it's not noteworthy. And that's the end of the test.
How was that?
You know what? That was... It was good and bad. Time went so quick, it felt like 10 minutes. But...
Adrenaline.
Yeah, with the roundabout, I was like, okay, you got me. But I think what I'm most kind of like gutted about, obviously, like I said, it's all learning experience, but that roundabout we were approaching under the bridge, I had in my head, I was like, I know this is a tight corner.
Why are you most gutted about that?
Because I was like, because I knew it, because I was like, I was approaching it, I was like, okay, I'm slowing down.
How would that be marked, do you think?
As a serious.
Okay.
Because I was like...
I probably wouldn't even mark it.
Yeah, because I was like, I was slowing down.
It's not ideal, hitting curbs,
Mm-hmm.
because what are you going to be doing to your tyres long term?
Yeah, but they're not built for the curbs.
So, okay, look, did you watch the last mock test video?
Yeah.
Have you watched the last mock test video? If you haven't, go and I'll put a link up here. Did you see where she hit the curb?
Mm-hmm.
I gave her a serious fault.
I can't remember, to be fair.
Okay, it's pretty horrible. She smacked
into
the curb.
Oh, no, that one, yeah, for sure.
Yes?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a tyre killer. What you just did underneath that bridge, I might not even mark it. It's not great, but I might not. I think that's not noteworthy. It's a small curb. What should you have been doing with your speed as you're approaching it?
See, yeah, I was slowing down, but what I thought that, in a way, what made me hit it, because I was looking at my mirrors and then I was signalling, but I was signalling at a wrong timing.
You hadn't gone around the bend yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I need to ask you whether it's a pass or a fail?
No, no, it's a fail.
So what do you think you failed for?
The roundabout, and I know there was times where I was like maybe going a bit too slow when it was the 30 zone.
Now, actually, there's an issue with both roundabouts.
Okay.
So the first one, you are going ahead to the second exit. Now, you decided to go to the middle lane, but you decided quite late, but it didn't. That didn't matter too much.
Okay.
You flung your left signal on. You had your left signal on the entire time, which was a bit weird.
Okay.
And there's a little bit of a signal thing going on here when it comes to roundabouts. You don't quite understand what your signals are for, I think, on roundabouts, which is totally fine. You just, once it's clarified, it's really, really simple and it makes sense. But if you're following the road ahead, what signal should you have on?
No signal.
However, this is the least of the issues. So that you didn't interfere with anybody with that signal on that initial move across onto the apex corner. But your lane discipline throughout was all over the place. And I was looking on the right shoulder, and we ended up, well, we started off on the left, then you ended up in the middle as you approached, and then you ended up in the right-hand lane, exiting the apex. Great. As we were driving up the dual carriageway, we were in that right-hand lane forever, I had to intervene because we were there. You had then the car coming up behind you, it was flashing you.
I forgot about that, yeah, because I seen like just the rows of cars and I was like, I can't get back to the left.
But why did you not think you could just put your signal on?
I felt like they were too close.
Just by putting a signal on, does that mean you're definitely coming across?
No.
So the dangerous bit is just moving across?
Yeah.
But if you put a signal on, what does that tell everybody now that you intend to do?
They're like, okay, I'm going to drop back a bit.
And if they allow you to vacate that space and move to the middle, what does that do to the right-hand lane?
They can pass me out.
I actually think you're not far away from where you need to be. You've got to tighten up on a few things. Obviously, roundabouts is definitely something you need to tighten up on. I'm thinking that dual carriageway was a little bit of an error. I would say dual carriageway roundabouts, a little bit of how you use your space, it just needs to be adjusted slightly.
Yeah.
And then you're not really that far away from where you need to be. So this is not a total disaster. The next roundabout that we were turning right third exit, I've shown you now how it should have been done. I'd just seen you do apex. There's no way I'm now going to allow you to move across those two lanes. What are you not reading?
The road signs and the road mapping.
Okay,
but
that's really easy to say, right? You should be reading it. How comfortable are you on roundabouts at the moment?
Yeah, like I said, kind of like the big boy roundabouts, I call them, with the 3 lanes. It's like...
Does it make you nervous?
Anxious.
I use the word anxious.
I say anxious and like very cautious and...
Which is normal.
Double guessing.
Okay, it comes in stages, right? If you're going to start reading road markings, which is going to feed into actually reducing your anxiety, but you just need to drive on them a bit more with support, with help from your driving instructor.
Yeah.
And then once you start to feel more comfortable in that environment and also the approach to them, what you should be reading, where you need to be positioned, then going round them, getting comfortable with that.
Yeah.
And then, once you've got to a point where you're going, well, actually, these aren't as bad as I think they are, you're going to be all of a sudden so much calmer, and reading road markings will not be an issue. So this has been Aidan's mock test video. I hope you've got some value out of it. I hope you have too.
Yeah.
If you have got any value out of this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you like more content, and I will see you in the next one. That's it. Get well out.